We're moving our replacement heifers down onto their pasture they're going to be on for a while. Got a bunch of cows kind of in the way. Some years we just run them straight down with the quad, but this year, because we got cows where we have to go around, we thought it was just as easy to stick them on the stock trailer. And now that we got them on the stock trailer, we're just going to run, it'll be a couple, 3 loads or something to bring them down here. Water and a salt block and a bale rolled out here so they can settle in and figure out where everything is before we open the gate. So I'll let the first load out now. Yeah, Annette took some video of us coming down here about a year ago with quad, bringing everything down in the mud. And I don't know if she's still got any of that video to bring up, but the difference of the grass that these guys are going to be going on to is night and day. Still a little bit earlier in the season, so it's kind of brown, but we'll take a drive around and see what they're going on to in a bit. Last load. Hey girls. So part of the reason why we're moving the heifers is because this is the water we're using for our cows. They're drinking about 3,000 gallons a day out of here. We didn't get any spring runoff this year, so what's left in here is just leftover from last year. And I think we're losing about as much to evaporation actually as we are to them drinking right now, with it being so windy. But that's probably only about 1.5 feet deep in the middle, so I'm thinking there'll be about a week at the most left there, and we'll have to move them to the other dugout. Let's see, those are a couple of 1,000-gallon tanks there, and we've got a wet well installed there. That's what that plastic culvert is. It goes down, and there's a tube that runs underground with some filter cloth and wash gravel on top. You can see the wash gravel exposed there. That's the low end of the dugout. It's kind of sloped to this end. But yeah, this one's just about dried out. So the cows are gonna go on the other side of the trees. We got a great big dugout over there with a bunch of water in it. So that's what we'll be using for water until they go to the hills. So this is our big dugout. When they were building the road, they needed a bunch of fill to bring the road up to whatever level they wanted, so they took a whole bunch of clay from here and left us with the dugout. This is a low spot. Quite a bit of runoff on a normal year comes through here and fills it. It's about 14 feet deep, this one. And it'll hold about 3 years worth of water for us, including evaporation and whatnot, probably. With dugouts, the bigger the better. If you only got a year or two's worth, then when you have some dry years, they're dry and it doesn't get you by. So if they got enough water carried over to last for several years, that's a really important feature of a dugout. Otherwise, you got lots of water in the dugout in the wet years when you don't need it, and they're as dry as the rest of it when it's in the dry years. So bigger is better, deeper is better. 14 feet's not real super deep, but there's a fair puddle of water there. So in our grass mix, we try and have a mixture of a wet season grass, which is usually a brome or a meadow brome, and a dry season grass. In this case, it's crested wheatgrass, and that's what's coming here now. Crested wheatgrass comes really early. It's an early grass, and it finishes up pretty early. It's super drought tolerant, and it's a bunch grass. It doesn't really form a sod, it just forms a bunch of clumps. But it's pretty well bulletproof. In the wet years, you wish you didn't have it because it doesn't yield as good, and in the dry years, you're glad you have it because it's there in the spring. And that's what's coming green here right now in bits and pieces, is some of the crested wheatgrass. So we try and have a mixture, like I say, of a wet season grass like brome and a dry season grass like crested wheatgrass, and then a legume, which is usually alfalfa, and I really like sandfoin too, so try and have some of that in the mix when we're seeding grass. Keep looking around and see what else is out here. Some years in the spring this thing's loaded with ducks and geese, and I've gone canoeing on it, but it's not going to be this year. Fair bit of slough grass here. It's all dry. They're not going to eat it, but if we get a snowstorm or something, they can lay down in bed in it. Don't plan on them. There's 20 acres of kind of native grass and a water run on the other side that we'll see, and a 40 acre and a 20 acre piece on either side of the water run that's just was barley and oats last year. We'll be doing some field work out here, probably while the calves or we'll be doing some field work out here while the heifers are out here, and then after we get seeding, we'll kick them off and onto some pasture. The longer we can leave the pasture to green up and hope for some rain, the better off we are. So we'll put them out here for a bit. We can't have them out here when the crop's growing, so we might as well use it early in the spring. Still got a fair bit of straw from the bunches left over from the combine. I'll have to come down here and take the cultivator and some spikes and spread everything out. See down there we have a windbreak. So I got some place to get out of the wind if we get a storm down here. That's the water run down there. Right down in the bottom end of that water run, there's a seam of sand that runs underneath the ground here, and it's got water in it. So in the wet years, water actually bubbles up out of the ground here, and this is kind of a saline seep, and there'll be a puddle of water here. They used to come here and fill the steam engines when they were thrashing, because there would be water here in the fall. And I actually got stuck with the combine, about 100 yards just off of this thing, because the water's not that below the surface when there's water here, but right now she's pretty bone dry. Yeah, there's a few mouthfuls of brome starting to come here and there. A bit more crested wheatgrass. Oh, it don't look like much, but it'll sure keep those heifers happy and busy. Well, it looks like the move really stressed them out. Not. I'll open the gate and nudge them through and let them check out their new digs. Beautiful Saturday evening. It was 25 Celsius today. Sun's just going down. There's a storm warning on for tonight. Supposed to get a bunch of snow. Wind and rain. It's just bone dry, so just taking some shots of the clouds. We'll take it.